And we are live. Welcome everybody to the live stream. Thank you guys for joining us on a cloudy Tuesday
Mm.
morning. And as usual, I go by the name of MJ, and I'm not alone. I'm with the man himself, Mr. Mike Kumi.
How's it, everyone? Welcome to the live stream. It's a good one today. I'm excited for today's topic.
I'm sure a lot of people are excited.
Yes, yes.
I also included in that.
And regardless of your relationship status, I think it's going to be a solid conversation today.
I think it's a conversation that is necessary. Either you are in the marriage itself, or you are planning to get married, or you know you will get married sometime in the future. And some of these things are actually transferable. I mean, any relationship will benefit from the
Yes,
information shared today.
this is true. This is
Yes.
true. And I can't wait
Mm.
to hear what Coach is going to say because
Yeah.
as we always say, we don't hold PhDs in this field. So we will wait for the expert to come and
To
demystify.
share. Yes. Uh, so, as we always say, we are a community, we are a village. So, this is a conversation that includes you guys as well. So, go to the comment section, ask the coach questions. Yeah, so that we can all learn together and we grow.
Mm,
Yes. So, I think let us get the ball rolling.
great.
Uh, we have a coach Tumelo Masalila with us, certified coach with Botswana qualifications authority, also certified with John Maxwell. So the man comes with all the PhDs that are required for the topic. That wherever me and Mike are lacking, we have you guys covered, and we always bring you the best of the best. So this is the best of the best in terms of relationships, in terms of family coaching. Coach, we welcome you.
Thank you, MJ. Thank you, Mike. And thank you to our listeners and viewers today. It's
Yes.
good to be here.
Uh,
It's good to be here.
yes. And we apologize for starting late. It's not something that we want to make a tradition. We are
Mm,
10 minutes late, and we apologize for that. But we'll jump straight into it. So the topic for today is temperaments and expectations in marriage. Somebody said that we invest everywhere except for marriage. So we will invest in terms of our careers. We will invest in terms of our businesses. We will invest everywhere else except into our marriages or into our relationships. That's where we spend the least. So we don't invest in terms of coaching, we don't invest in terms of books, podcasts, we don't access those resources. So I don't know why that is. Why don't we invest in our marriages? Coach.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I think we somehow at times feel that this is a space, this is a field where things will just fall into place. We think that it's biology. One thing
mm,
will lead to another. The attractions will do the best that can be. But over the years, like you are saying, we have realized the ups and downs have shown us we are lacking, or there are certain things that we may have perhaps overlooked, that and leading to all the things that we normally experience and we see happening in marriages. So we just think it's a natural thing that will take place and things will just happen on its own. And maybe also because we grow up in these setups. Some of us, or generally most people, it either if you are privileged to be raised in a family where there is that type of setup where marriage is there, or your relatives around you. So you think, I've seen it happening, so it can be far from what I can. If my time comes, it might be nothing too much or rocket science. So I think that's we just, you know, run the risk of just assuming things will fall into place. Yeah.
Yeah. So we decide to wing it.
Yeah, it's a by the way thing.
It's like
Yeah,
I will see, and I
I'll
think
see
the
where I
problem
get there.
there, and I think the
Yeah.
problem there is that if now your marriage hits a rocky patch, you will then
Mhm.
start saying that maybe me and my spouse are not meant to be together, but not
Mhm.
realizing the need for equipping the marriage
Yeah.
to make sure that when times get tough, you guys have
Mhm.
been equipped and are able to handle those challenges.
True. Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Mike,
I mean, yeah. Okay, Mike.
yeah.
I'm very curious, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever encountered a situation where you've met a couple and you've perhaps perceived that maybe they shouldn't have come together as
Mhm.
man and wife? So perhaps sometimes we're trying to cure something that should never have begun in the first place. How do you go
Mhm.
about dealing with that?
It's always a challenge. It's always a challenge, Mike, because at times they are there in front of you. You're like, yes, I do. I do. In most cases, I do counseling, and mostly I meet. I would say on a scale of 10, I meet around about 6 or 7% of people coming together for counseling, but you realize these people, the match is just not one made in heaven, or the
Mm,
match is just not the one that should be. So it's always a challenging case to deal with, because you want to drive them to a point where they get to realize that your differences are really working against you, and that's why you can't click naturally. So I think it's a common thing that exists in most relationships, I would say, because of the lack of awareness of maybe knowing how to go about such a
mm,
scenario. We have many cases. People are just moved to getting together with their partners by virtue of attraction, and they overlook a lot of aspects that contribute to what makes a healthy relationship, and
mm,
what will make a healthy marriage. So yeah, Mike, it's but going about it is, we have tools that we normally use to help us, and at the end of the day, I always say to my clients, it can go both ways. I
yeah,
don't do the magic. You can either go together from this office, or maybe you go separate ways. But be ready, because at the end of the day, we just want what's good for both of you. And yeah, so it happens. It happens.
yeah. I like that.
Mm,
So, Coach, tell us about some of the red flags and
yeah.
then some of the green flags, because I think red flags sometimes are a little bit more obvious. But what are some of the green flags that will indicate that yes, this is a quality partner that I can invest in?
Mhm. Um, Truly, the green flags are not hard to note, because at times, you spot the person, you see a few things that you click with or you can get along with in that person, and it's those that you need to hold on. But unfortunately, the red flags tend to outweigh the green flags, to be honest,
Mm,
because. Uh, it's like we come up from societies or from area spaces where we normally pick the negative than the positive at most. So the green flags mainly would be aspects that talks to, you guys having the ability to flow together, you guys having the aspect of, having to think along the same lines, but Your differences aren't that much. Differences in the sense that where you are envisioning to go, the type of dreams and aspirations that brings the both of you together. I would avoid talking to physical aspects and features of the both of them, because that plays a natural part where when you see your partner, the attraction is there automatically. But it's those underlying factors, type of vision, such as in patterns of behavioral patterns, I would say, that talks to maybe temperaments. So those are the things that you want to pay attention to, and that can add weight. Then that can be your green flags to say, no, well, what, despite the little negatives I'm seeing, we can work on this, we can do something about this.
I hear is that shared values, the ability to be able just to get along together, that is the basis of a good marriage. That everything else you can then fix and build upon that foundation. And what is also your opinion on premarital counseling? How important and how vital is premarital counseling?
I'm sorry, MJ, I didn't get the first question. The network was not clear there.
Okay. What I was saying was that what you were saying was that the ability to be able to get along and the fact that you guys value things, those are the foundations for any relationship. And then anything else you are able then to build on top of that. Yes. And then now I arrived at my question now, that what is the importance of premarital counseling?
Okay. Premarital counseling has a great weight, a huge significance, I would say, and you run the risk of risking everything if you don't go through it. It has a huge weight because it acts as an eye opener. It is during that session that you get to appreciate a lot of things that will contribute or that will go into the marriage. Things that you possibly may have overlooked by virtue of being excited of the journey that you're about to get into. You are more swallowed about the fact that, this is my life partner, and the marriage itself would play a key role in binding us together. People love that line too much. Now this is my person. Legally and spiritually, I own this person. So that excitement tends to really overlook the most important things that comes in when you go through premarital. We talk to issues of, just to give an example, issues of finance and emotion, which is also a very key component when it comes to marriage. It is during premarital that you get to be sensitized, and also if you have a good counselor, they would bring you guys to speed in terms of how you both deal with money and your emotions leading to handling money, because eventually after the honeymoon stage, that part will kick in no matter what, because then it is what keeps us going. It's what contributes to the type of lifestyle we want to live. Issues of illegal matters, because remember, this is a legal binding covenant. If you want to look at it that way, you want to also appreciate, what am I getting myself into? What parameters am I to operate with? What does this mean? And the process, when we go out of or in community, what does that mean? So those are the issues that you need to be sensitized with at premarital. You want to talk to issues about family extendedly. You people are joining to each other's families. What type of people am I joining? And how am I going to fare around these people? These are very important factors that you want to look at. And I see that you're smiling, MJ. I don't know if you are relating. But yeah, those are the things that you want to not overlook. You want to touch base with and try and address during this time, premarital. Issues around temperaments, MJ, behavioral patterns. You are tying yourself to somebody who has certain behavioral patterns, and that have been in their lives for the past 20 years, 21, 25, and 30. And people run the risk of trying to change their partners in the journey of marriage. And remember, you are dealing with a 30-year-old, you are dealing with a 40-year-old, you are dealing with history that comes from 30 years ago. What are you going to do after just from 2-3 years of marriage? So you want to pay attention to these things and note them. So these are the key things that we discuss when we are dealing with premarital issues. So I want to say it's critical, it's important. And with the past cases I've had, I met a lot of people who never went through that, and they find themselves in deep holes that they can't get out of. So it's important. And at that stage, it's hard to fix because certain lines and certain bridges are bent. So you want to consider premarital at the word go before sealing the deal.
Yes. No, the reason I was smiling was because I watched a video yesterday, and it said there are two types of families in the world: naked families and dressed families.
Yeah. Elaborate
So
on
the
that.
so the naked families, in the family, somebody can just walk around the house without a shirt on, like no issue. And and then there are families where people are always dressed up. So when you spoke about that, what type of family am I bringing myself into? Because for somebody, I can imagine you grow up in a family where everybody's always covered up, and then you are introduced to this family where people are just walking around without their tops. I mean, showing off their biceps and muscles. So, yeah, that could be very interesting. So, we seem to have lost the coach there, Mike. What is your takeaway from premarital counseling?
Premarital counseling is so important. I think, Coach hit the nail on the head when he said it's an eye-opener for you to see the behavioral patterns, and then for you to assess if I can actually manage this pattern. Because like Coach said, you can't change the pattern, or you can't change it overnight. So the period that counseling gives you, I think it gives you a grace period to also go and meditate and think about what you're getting yourself into. And even at the premarital counseling stage, there's no shame in saying, I can't. I thought I could, but I can't. There's no shame in going back at that stage. The shame, because we're Christians, the shame now is getting into marriage, tying the knot, getting the families together, having children, and then saying, I can't. So rather you say you can't at the premarital stage when you're figuring some things out.
Coach, I think, can you give us examples of temperaments? I know we covered this last year. I think for those who probably might have missed, they can revisit that video on YouTube. But what are temperaments, and what are the examples or signs of those temperaments?
Okay. Thank you, MJ. A very critical and important topic when you talk about this setup of relating in a romantic way, relating at a level of marriage. Temperaments come a long way. These are what we call reasons why we do things the way we do, or we behave the way we behave. Temperaments talk to reasons for everything we do as human beings. So remember, when you relate with people, at times what comes first and what precedes them is it's how they behave, it's how they carry themselves, how they conduct themselves. So sometimes you wonder, looking at somebody's behavior or behavioral patterns, you wonder, what type of a person is this? Where did they grow up? How do they behave this way? Where do they get to talk the way they talk and move the way they move and stuff like that? And I tell you, it's even worse when that person is doing that and they don't know where this is all coming from, and maybe you are also experiencing the same, but you are both unaware of why we do things the way we do. And all you get from this person when you ask them is they will say, this is how I was born, like this is how I grew up, like, oh, I come from this place and it's like this. So temperaments come in to give you that awareness to say, the reason why you behave the way you behave is because of this. So temperaments talks to issues of how we think, how we feel, how we act. So imagine, these are critical things in a relationship: thinking, feeling, and acting. So you want to know why you do these things and why your partner does them. So that's why we emphasize this aspect, the temperaments. And the terms I'll use come from one of the Greek physicians by the name Hippocrates, and he discovered this around 460, 360 BC. And this is a long time ago. And you can see this is divinely. It's something that was not made up. It comes a long way. Names kept on changing. Guys came in and started calling them different names. But the names I'll use today to describe these temperaments is in reference to what Hippocrates said. And he mentioned that there are 4 temperaments, or there are 4 types of temperaments, or personality types, or personality traits. And this stem out to talk to aspects of you being introverted or extroverted. So 2 will mainly bring out the aspect of the introverted side, and 2 will mainly bring out the aspect of the extroverted side of the individual. So you want to pay attention to this, because it's that behavioral aspect that comes into play in a marriage or in a relationship. Whether your partner is introverted or extroverted, do you prefer introverted or extroverted? So that's why I was saying it goes beyond the physical features of that individual. So now, with the temperaments, you want to also note that these are things that we cannot change. They are embedded in our DNA. That is to say, they are influenced by our DNA. We inherited from our parents, your mother or your father. And also, they are also influenced by your environment. That is the environment that you grew up in. So when you meet someone, know that you are dealing with an environment. That is, if that person is from Kenya, you are dealing with the whole entire setup and environment there, Kenya. Or whether they are from Simito, where I am from, you'd want to educate yourself about the geographical landscape of that area, because you are going to be dealing with somebody who's wired from that area. So that is very important, because it will play a key role in the relationship. So we all have the 4, but what is important is to pick the primary temperament of that individual, primary and secondary. So we have choleric, that is the first one, and then we have sanguine, that's the second one. So this 2 talks to the extroverted side of an individual. And then we have melancholic and sanguine. Now, this other 2 talks to the introverted side of that person. So when somebody scores the most in either the first 2, then you know they are very extroverted. When they score highest on the other 2 I mentioned, then you know they are introverted. So you need to know this so that when you deal with this person, you are in a better position to, apply your mind and play your judgment on issues, depending on their behavioral disposition. So, like I said, there are four: sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic. So let me break them down quickly, just so that we can easily relate. Now, the choleric is what we call the go-getters, the firebrand. These are people who prefer things to be done their way. When you are with them, they always take charge. They always run. They run and dominate the relationship. They decide what is it to be bought. They decide where the vacation is to be, where the kids go, which school the kids get to go to. They decide pretty much everything. They always tell themselves that they are at the top of their game and they're meant to lead. So you can either have a man or a woman with this character traits and very dominant. They will never give you a chance on anything. It's either their way or the highway. Number two, we've got the sanguines. Sanguines are the life of the party. These are the ones which prefer to, we normally call them people pleasers. They easily blend, very sociable. I think Mike is speaking something there. And they are easily relatable. It's not hard. It's not hard for them to blend in a setup where there are many people. They like to, be bubbly. They are lively. They just enjoy company. They are the types when you marry or you get into the relationship with, they bring their friends along. You just embrace yourself. You are not getting one person. You are getting about 3 or 4 people. So they will always make reference to their friends in the journey of the relationship or the marriage. When they have a problem with you, they'll leave you. And when you call, they'll say, you know where I am. I'm with Mike, my best friend, the person who understands me best. So that's what you will get with the sanguine. And then you have melancholics. Melancholics, they are the so-called thinkers. They are the type who are very loyal in relationships. And likely a percentage of women are found into this personality. They are the type who are analyzers. They think, they don't take things on the surface. They are the types when you do something and you want to explain yourself, you will need to have Googled your stuff and got your facts right, because they will question you until you know what it means to be interrogated. So you explain yourself a lot when you're around them. They easily switch on when given the chance, when they feel comfortable in spaces where they are in. So they are introverts, but easy to switch on to the extroverted side given the chance. So those are your melancholics. And lastly, on the introverted side is the sanguines. The phlegmatics. The phlegmatics are the so-called shy people. These are the partners who prefer their calm and their space. When you get involved with them, brace yourself, they are likely to want to zoom out at times. They'll tell you, I want my me time, and you will not understand, and you will not get it. Why did you decide to be with me if you are going to want to close yourself inside a room and stuff? So these are the type who do that. They want to close themselves away from the world and stay home. They are not the sociable type. If you want to go out, you are on your own. But know that when you come back, you're in trouble. Why did you leave me alone? Stuff like that. Yeah, they're the types when you go to family gatherings, it's like they're bored, uninterested. They don't want to be there. So both have strengths and weaknesses. This is all the 4 temperaments, and it's very important to pick those so that when you are dealing with your partner, you can easily diagnose them and pick and understand. So in a nutshell, MJ and Mike, those are the temperaments. And I didn't want to go into detail, but they go on to talk to issues of the career type, the careers that you should choose, the life partner that you should choose, all those things, especially that we work in spaces where there are other people. You want to know your temperament and other people's temperament so that you can relate with them better. But imagine they play a huge role when it comes to family setups and, romantic relationships. Yeah.
Last week we were talking about suicide.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of days ago, and we spoke about our awareness and the importance of our awareness. So even when you're talking about temperaments, it's important that we are aware of each other's temperaments, because yeah, like you were saying with the last one, then somebody could end up concluding that every time we go for a family gathering, you are never involved, you always look bored. So it means that you don't like my side of the family, which could be further from the truth. But if you knew the person's temperament, then you are able then to understand and relay that information also to your own family. That hey, the person that I'm bringing in is not a very social person, so please be aware and be prepared for the person that I am bringing into the fold.
True.
So I
True.
think understanding your temperament is very vital to relationships and the success of the relationship. Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you're saying, MJ. And Coach, thank you for shedding light on these temperaments, because I've heard of them, but I've never really dived deeper to understand. So thank you for demystifying those for us. What I'm seeing is, depending on situations and circumstances and issues of life, you may find yourself maybe emphasizing one or two of these temperaments. So you might be more um, melancholic, but maybe because of a certain circumstance, now you're forced to be, choleric, more go-getter because the situation demands it. But what I'm also seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, is if if both partners are not emotionally intelligent,
Mhm.
then when they see their partner almost expressing a certain emotion, they can take it negatively when it's not to be taken negatively, and then vice versa. When you just want your space, now your partner thinks, "Oh, they're distancing themselves from me. They don't love me anymore." Or they prefer to be out with the boys instead of being home. So can you speak to like emotional intelligence and how both partners need to be able to be self-aware and how to manage their own emotions?
Mhm. Yeah. No, thank you, Mike. That's a very good question. Emotional intelligence plays a key role in that aspect of awareness, because with emotional intelligence you have the ability to read ahead, the emotions of your partner without necessarily having to take anything out of them. It's those nonverbal cues that you pay attention to, and I tell you, it gels well with temperaments. When you are emotionally intelligent, you are likely to easily pick your partner's temperament without even asking. So it's one of the skills that partners or people in relationships should have, because some things you want to pick without being told. You know how it is in a relationship, and your partner being the way they are, they tend to, people will make this comment, somebody, couldn't you see that I was not happy? Didn't you see that I didn't like that gift? I didn't like those people. So if you're emotionally intelligent, you are likely to pick the wave before your partner starts, keep picking on you, or maybe raising an issue when you get home. And ladies, I'm sorry to say this, ladies are likely to be the ones the poor victim of this one. They'll be like, you didn't see that I didn't like this, you didn't see that I couldn't, you tell, couldn't you pick? So these are the things that suggest to couples to say you want to be emotionally intelligent, so that some things you read between the lines, or you just pick these things and these signs and quickly act on them, those emotions and stuff like that. So you are right, Mike. Emotional intelligence plays a key role. And you can imagine relating with someone who is not even aware uh, of their emotions and or even their temperaments. You are likely to find yourself with somebody who's less caring, not considerate, and quickly want to run or dissolve the relationship without giving it a chance. So we want to say and emphasize that there is no way you can learn about temperaments and leave out the aspect of being emotional intelligent, because they go hand in hand, and they each play a vital role to helping partners getting to relate well with each other. Because remember, I said with temperaments, you are dealing with behavioral patterns, behavioral dispositions, and it takes emotional intelligence to quickly pick those things that your partner might have that talks to their personality, and it becomes easy for you to step up and do what is expected in a relationship.
Coach, I have
Yeah,
a tough question for you.
thank
How
you.
do you simultaneously accept your partner for who they are, but still
Mhm,
request for change or for changes? So, how do you
mhm,
simultaneously accept who you've picked, who you've married, but still ask for some changes in temperament,
mhm,
in emotional intelligence? How do you
mhm.
do that at the same time?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'll, I'll tell you. The awareness of temperaments comes into play a key role to helping you in those lines, because it takes that awareness that allows you to know how to tread with your partner, and with coming up with suggestions of things that you feel should maybe be adjusted on or be changed, or that. So it's that awareness that you need, so that you can say, then how best do I navigate, how best do I tread without offending them, like you are saying, and pressing the wrong buttons. So you want to pick and note what personality they have, and ride along the things that probably would advance your intentions without stepping on their toes. I'll give an example. If you're dealing with probably a choleric lady, imagine the type who wants to wear the pants in the family because they want to take charge, and and at the same time, you are the man, and the order in the Christian setup, it's God first, then me. But you have a lady who wants to want to step up and play that the head of the family type of a role. So you want to note what personality they are, and tread carefully in dealing with that person who is that go-getter, who wants to always be in charge of things, and gather the wisdom to suggest. So say you want to suggest without making them feel like you don't like what they are doing, or rather you have issues you want to address. Because with cholerics, you are dealing with somebody who deals with facts, who deals with orderly things and organized things. So you don't want to take them or address them in that space, because they'll feel challenged, and they'll easily resist you, and they'll easily fight back, because they feel you are stepping into a zone that is a no-go zone. So as a man dealing with such a lady, you want to now say to you want to maneuver around, still making them feeling like they're on top of their game and they're in charge, and still suggest, honey, I think one or two three things we need to tweak here and there. You are coming with a humble tone. You can't be using the alpha tone, because you are dealing with an automatic alpha, by the way. So chances are you will not get what you want. You will get an unending discussion where the chairman is holding on their seat and they don't want to bow out. So it's that wisdom, Mike, that you need. Awareness of the temperament allows you to know now that I'm dealing with a choleric. And this is a woman for that fact. So I need to be smart about suggesting things and changes in the family without, leading us to a fight or to something that will cost our marriage. Because that's the one thing with cholerics. You want to understand that they want to dominate their space. For instance,
Well,
another example, you are dealing with a melancholic, and this person is an analyzer. It's not the type you come and say, baby, I've seen a car and I think it's a good car for us. We need to get. You want to now talk to facts. Why do we need the car? What type of a car? Why this car? Yeah, and looking at our finances, where are we financial wise? Can we afford the car? And what are we foregoing? What is the opportunity cost in the family for us to get the car? So this is the type of a person you gather your facts around. You don't come and say, I'm the head of the family. I've decided I want the car to be bought and we are buying this car. End of the, take it or leave it. You will suffer the resistance along the way. She'll start complaining about the aircon of the car. She'll start complaining about the shape. She'll even gather with people who are thinking the car is not good and bruise your ego one way or the other. So she's a melancholic. You want their buy-in. You want to get them to understand why you want to buy this car and stuff like that. So it's the awareness, Mike. It's the awareness, and it will help you in dealing with your partner. It will help you navigate around them without causing a fight and stepping on any toe. Remember, I said, like you talked about switching in between. We all have the four, but the one that is dominant tends to kick in mostly, especially in arguments, especially in serious talks, especially maybe in happy moments. It easily gets to switch on. So as a partner who's emotionally intelligent, you want to pick your fights well. You want to pick the dates well. You read the mood, read the emotions, and say, this will be the right time to address that issue that has been piling or that we have been having. So it's that emotional intelligence aspect that helps you to read emotions quickly and know how to navigate with changes.
That is very good. I think it's important. I think, as you've already said, just the importance of just being aware. It helps
Yeah.
because I can
Yeah.
I can imagine I'm a man, and I have a woman now who has who's a choleric and wants to take charge and lead. And then I'll start feeling like, this woman is disrespecting me, always doesn't respect me as a man and as a leader. But no, it's just you understanding that, okay, the woman that I have, this is their temperament. How do I, as a man, harness those leadership qualities that we are able to build together? And how do I tackle issues with, I think it needs wisdom. Marriage, you cannot do marriage without wisdom because you are dealing with two different people, two different temperaments, two different backgrounds. So it's just important to always bring wisdom into that. And I'm glad that you tackled it from that, because I'm sure there are a lot of men out there who have wives like that. And most cases, they're always complaining that the wife does not respect them, but not seeing it as an asset that say, okay, maybe God realized that I was lacking in this go-getter motivation and gave me a go-getter to be able to push and move forward. But for me as a man now is to pray for wisdom, that how do I manage this this firecracker. One thing that I wanted us to cover, I know we already talked, I think we'll end with expectations, but then with temperaments, then these temperaments will affect how we communicate, the both of us, how we handle finances, and also in matters of the bedroom also. So I want you to
Okay.
speak into that how do they affect our how we communicate, how we do our finances, and also in matters of the bedroom. How do these temperaments affect those three phases?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, MJ. They because we are saying temperaments sum up the behavioral disposition of an individual. They now say to you, when it comes to finances, this is how this person is likely to behave. When it comes to the bedroom life, this is how my partner is going to behave. And then the last one was what? Communication. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
And
yes,
in terms, yes, in terms of communication, this is how my partner is going to communicate. Like you, I'll give an example with communication. Cholerics are very shrewd in their communication. They cut the chase, go straight to the point. They are the type who are less considerate of your feeling. When they want to tell you, they tell it as it is. They don't sugarcoat, because for them it's you it will feel like you have a CEO or an MD in the family or in the household, and they are there pushing targets and straight talkers. So when it comes to communication, they are the type of people who are serious about what they are saying. And then also in terms of finances, they're not the type who are spontaneous about the use of money. It should have been planned for. You don't go on vacation and say, honey, I see the iPhone is, the prices have dropped. Can I get it quickly and stuff like that? They are not the type who are spontaneous. They will be like, we didn't budget. Remember, we are spending this much. And sometimes if you don't understand their personality, you run the risk of thinking that, my partner is too uptight, and can you loosen up? Can we live a little, as opposed to a sanguine. A sanguine is, we are ready to go. They go with the flow. You can budget for 10,000 for a vacation and come with a sanguine having spent 20,000, but not with a choleric. There's nothing like that. And there's justification of use of money in the family. So you can imagine, now it goes back to the communication again. You don't easily walk through them. Melancholics are the same. They don't easily give up issues and discussions. You are likely to debate with them. But as opposed to phlegmatics go, they'll be like, okay, if you like it, take it. They are the type who always strive for peace. You know, for them, it's like, I don't want trouble, do it. But at the same time, when you overspend and you come back to them and say, Kana, but you contributed, you allowed this to happen, they'll be like, yeah, I mean, I didn't want to trouble you. I didn't want us to be heavy. So they are the type who goes with the flow. So if you don't take charge with a phlegmatic, you are likely to find yourselves like things going south all the time, because for them, they don't think ahead. They just want peace. For them, they are striving for peace all the time. So it talks to issues of around communication and finance when it comes to all this that I've just said. And now bedroom life, MJ, I mean, this is a critical part. And when we do premarital, we really put it up and we raise it with couples to say, um, like, I'll give an example. A sanguine, they are the type who are spontaneous. So in the bedroom, they are likely to introduce all sorts and all manner of things. They are the type who will be coming with suggestions of what to be done and what not to be done. I had a couple not long ago. The lady is very, very phlegmatic. The guy is very sanguine. So when the man suggests, the lady's very inquisitive. She's wondering, where is this guy learning all these things? And now they came for counseling because the lady is concerned. She feels, no, with his mind, I think he's doing something somewhere. And I don't get why he's so up and about with all these things. It talks to, love making positions. The guy is very suggestive. He's coming up with other aspects, and the lady's shying away and feeling this is wrong. Until she learned about the temperaments, she maintained her cool. And I said to her, you know what, go and enjoy your marriage. You've got a guy who's out there to give you all experiences given, you see. And like I was saying, cholerics, for instance, they see lovemaking as a goal. Remember, this is an organized person. For them, they come in and say, once the action is done, they are done, Mike. They take off, they go. There's no like, baby, can we sit on and cuddle, hold me? I just want to, they are done. They will go on their business. They will pull out a calendar and say, what is the budget? When are we doing this and that? Immediately, you you get my point. Because for them, they are always on what's for them. Love making is a goal. It's something that needs to be done, put aside, and let's move on. And sometimes when you are dealing with such a person, you think they are trying to use you. They are not so affectionate enough. You take, for instance, a phlegmatic. When it comes to love making, they don't initiate anything. Worst case, they hardly initiate love making in a relationship. They'll be there, but they feel they want to do it, but they are waiting for you to move. And tomorrow, when you bring up the topic, the person is likely to say to you, but you were also sitting there and not saying anything. So I thought and assumed you don't want to, So it's important to note the temperament, because when it comes to this area, you are likely to be the one, the only one in the relationship, if you are dealing with a phlegmatic who is always suggesting, and it will appear like you are the one who needs that partner and they don't need you. And lack of understanding would now cause issues. And I'll give an example. They are the type who are fine with any one style, January to December. They don't mind. They don't like. They are fine. Even communication, even the type. After love making, you want to ask your partner, "How was it? Did you get feedback?" But a phlegmatic will just be looking at you. "Oh, it was fine." And they are on with their business. And you were thinking you are giving your best that day. And yes, yeah, well, I mean, it was okay. And you can imagine how it makes you feel, dealing with a phlegmatic. Even in communication, you come excited. You are coming through with something that has happened to your life, and it's out of the ordinary. And you tell them, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, that's good. At least things are working out for you." I mean, they give cold responses. You will never get the energy that you are giving out with a phlegmatic. So so that's why I'm saying, with lovemaking, please, knowing your partner's temperament is everything, because it's those moments or those times where really you connect at a very divine level. So it's important to know the behavioral patterns of your partner, so that even when you come up with suggestions, you like suggesting to a melancholic, "Okay, baby, I'm thinking let's do this." They will question you. Where did you learn it? Where did you get it? Why are you suggesting this now? Why this? They are not the type you come in and say, "I thought we introduced this," and you think they will easily go by it. They will ask you questions to a point where you feel this was a bad suggestion and feel embarrassed. So if you do not know their personality, you will go unhappy in a relationship because you tried, but the person is just, cold on you, or maybe too interrogative, that they are killing the what you were bringing up. Yeah. So in a nutshell, MJ, I think that's how couples should fare when it comes to temperaments and those three aspects or three areas. It's important to note.
Yes. Thank you for that. I think you captured it very, very well. Even Jessica was falling off her chair saying, it's very true. And we also have Israel says he's watching from Solofelo. We are learning a lot. So
Yeah.
people are watching and people are learning. Mike.
Mhm.
Hmm. I wanted to ask Coach something. Maybe just very briefly, Coach, because I
Yes, sir.
think our time is fast approaching.
Mhm.
Um, there's there's the accusations being made from both sides, from both genders, from men and
Mhm.
women, especially now.
Mhm. Mhm.
In Gaborone, you find a lot of women are in positions of power. They're directors, they're CEOs, they hold high positions. But with those high positions comes a certain temperament that a lot of
Mhm.
men have confessed, and we've spoken about it, that they don't like. That
Yeah.
they are bosses in the boardroom, but they don't want them
Mhm.
bosses at home.
Yeah.
So now, how what advice do you have, if I can put it this way, what advice do you have for women who find themselves in such positions and are single and are looking for men, but most men do not prefer that type of personality set or character type set? What advice do you have for such women?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And that's a very important question, to be honest. And it talks to why we have single mothers most of the time in our society. Um, Truly, the awareness, I go back there, of the personality traits is very important for everyone who wants to really engage at this level of relating with another person and leading into marriage, because you are now exposed and you now have the knowledge of how your partner is likely to behave. And for you, for the lady themselves, when they know they are the cholerics and they are, the boss in the workplace, you with that awareness, you know when to switch and when to tone down and when to, transition to knowing that now I'm home, I'm the madam in the house, and this is what is expected of me. Remember, Mike, when couples are fighting, the man feels highly disrespected, something that God had made charge to say, wives, submit to your husbands and respect. And then ladies feel unloved, especially when there are fights and battles in the family. And this now talks to that aspect that it's important that when you are at that particular lady who's the corporate type and you are in charge where you are, and probably by God's blessing you are choleric, you need to know when to transition, to switch in and out, and not to say change your temperament, no, but how do I apply, how do I fare, how do I behave when I get
Mm,
home? You spoke about emotional intelligence. That is what emotional intelligence does for you. It helps you read the emotion of your partner, or rather your husband, and this is not the time to talk about this, or rather this is the time to bring up this, or this is the time to behave in this manner for them to cheer up or to behave in this way. So you want to take note of this so that you know how to best apply yourself, how to best, take in your husband. Remember, like we are saying, for us Christians, there is no confusion. It's God first, is the man after. I know we are civil rights say we are all equal, but I say we are equal but not equal. So nobody should make a mistake. And it's even worse, Mike, when the lady is a breadwinner, maybe the one bringing more money into the family. You as a
mm,
lady, you would need very much to know, this is my alpha, my royal head. When you get home, you submit yourself and say, here I am, this is how far I've gone. I tell you, the love that God knows you need from your husband will be overflowing without you asking. Not to say
come on.
one has to do this first for them to get this, but to simply just say, if each partner plays their role well, the husband does the loving, the wife does the submission and the respect, I tell you, a healthy family is guaranteed going forward. So for ladies, it's important to know, because we and worst case, we are Christian, we are also Africans. But then now comes the rights, which now want to say, forget about those two. You are equals. So the man has to be aware for them to really run the family well, and not to use their alpha side or their leading side to know to oppress. But also the lady should know, I may have an advantage in life of by virtue of position and money and stuff, but this is how I apply myself when I get home. And this is how I conduct myself when I get home. And it's even worse when the lady is married to a phlegmatic guy, the shy, the reserved, the quiet type. It's even you are tempted as a lady to walk over. You get into
Sure.
family meetings, you are the most vocal. You want to be the one suggesting. Sometimes you get carried away and say, well, this one never says anything. Let me give an opinion on behalf of the family. So you see, you want to tone down and allow your person, and be the one who texts and say, baby, maybe make this suggestion. Yeah, so it's not for you to try and look better in the relationship, but you need the awareness of the temperament so that you can easily fare in your household and deal well with your partner, and also get the love. Remember, even if you are the corporate lady, you have the dominant temperament, you'll still need love. So tell me how you will get it when you do not do what is expected of you as a you it's yeah you that is why they wind up feeling they can go out and get it somewhere. I can buy it if I need it.
Mm,
And you
right.
tend to entertain things that are not it's not really love, but you are just getting things that are not helping you. Yeah.
I think what you are saying is that we have to recognize that we have to give something in order for us to receive. That you have to give up something. That you cannot be the boss everywhere. That if you are looking for love and for companionship, you have to be able to leave the boss in the office and pick up and be a partner at home who is there, who understands, who listens, and who takes in other people's opinion. That there's a giving that we have to do. Mike.
I have nothing to add. Coach is just hitting the nail on the head, man.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I wish people would rewatch this. There's just so many gems that Coach has been dropping, and wow, I love it, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think let's cover the last part, which is expectation. I think this is something that we have been covering throughout the hour. That we come into relationships, we come into marriages, we have our own expectations. That I'm coming into this marriage, I expect the wife to act in a certain way. That I expect the husband to behave in a certain way. That we just spoke about matters in the bedroom, that you come into the marriage and you expect that every night it's going to be on. That we come with all these different expectations, and even for some it goes even to arguments, that they would assume then that if we have an argument, it means that the relationship is not going well. That if I find another person attractive, it means that something is not okay in my relationships. That we come with all these expectations into our marriages. How do I deal? Okay, I think we understand that we have our own needs as individuals. That speaks into our love languages as well. So you need to communicate. We get that we need to communicate. That there are those communicated expectations. There are those uncommunicated expectations where you would expect somebody also now to be a mind reader. That, oh, you're supposed to know what I'm thinking. Why do you say you don't know? Yes. So how do we deal with all of these things? How do we deal with uncommunicated expectations? How do I deal with unmet expectations? How all these unrealistic expectations that I'm coming into this marriage. In this marriage, I expect that we are not going to argue. Even for some, the fact that I expect us to be always passionate and lovey-dovey, that it should always be highs, that the moment that there are lows, it means that this marriage is crumbling and it's over. I know I spoke, it's a complete mouthful, but hopefully I made, hopefully it made sense. That how do we deal with all these expectations that are there? That how do I communicate first of all my expectations to the other person?
Thank you. Thank you so much, MJ. That's a very
Yeah.
important question because, to be honest, after the attraction and the excitement comes expectations in every relationship, And what is very critical to note is that the expectations are not a bad thing. We just need to know how to best communicate them. We need to know what goes into them and how to be considerate of them. Remember, like you said earlier, two different people, two different backgrounds. And the problem we're doing is that we want to join forces and work together. I deliberately set off to do a program called Couples Unplugged, which is more on the team building side of couples who are people who are coming together to relate, to say, there comes a moment after the attractions that you guys have to coexist. Coherence should be there. How are you going to fare from here? And without overlooking, overstepping, over extending each other, without the other feeling that that this Mike I love, Mike I want to be with, but it is how he thinks, it is what he wants that I have a problem. You get this on a daily when you are dealing with couples. And the like we were saying earlier, it gels well with the temperament. That awareness will be handy for you to now know how to accommodate and deal with this person and work with them and get somewhere. The Bible talks to this aspect that two cannot walk together unless they are agreed, and two heads are better than one. It's important that when people come together, we don't overlook this very important aspects. Remember, when you say to someone, can we live together? Can we walk this journey of life together? You are simply saying to them, I'm interested in your thinking. I'm interested in your ideas. I'm interested in your personality. I believe it will add weight and it will help me go somewhere and get to where I need to get to. This goes both ways for the man, for the woman. So expectations are very important at that aspect, or to note at that point, to say this person is not just a physical being that helps you get an element of physical satisfaction alone. But there's just more to life that this person can add on to. So when it says two heads are better, it says two thinking, two ideas, two plans, two this, two that. Everything brought together on a table. It's double now. What can we leverage out of this double? What can we do? Instead of seeing it as a monster, instead of seeing it as too much to deal with, you are saying we've got two heads, two ideas. That means we can do better. I think people mostly tend to fall on the negative. That's why people cohabit for a long time, MJ, because they feel, I think this person is not getting me. I have ideas, they have ideas. It's too much. So they tend to miss the point. What you are with expectations there, what is critical is to note that I have somebody to sharpen my thinking. I have somebody to help me advance what I've been thinking I can do. I have an idea. I have somebody who can add value to it so that it manifests into something that we can benefit from. So it's that first understanding that helps you deal with expectations, so that it's not the selfish side that we stand on, but it's the coherence and the working together aspect that brings us together to get ahead. And one thing that people tend to miss, I don't know how, but they think this person is there for my sake and for me. Especially men, we run the risk of thinking that because she's deemed the helper, that means what works and what exists in this household is what I want. Don't forget that's a human being. They coming to help what you are doing, not forgetting. They have dreams, aspirations, and ambitions. And to the ladies, when you come with those dreams, aspirations, and expectations, don't forget you are saying, I'm coming to help this guy. So, what is it that I'm helping? Such that when I help, there's this consideration to also what I want and what I want to see happening around my life. I'm sorry, I'll put it this way to say, sometimes for ladies, it's that considerateness ahead of time. You can even apply wisdom. And I tell ladies, you know what? If you just do this, the submissive side of things, you will have what you want. Because when a man is feels satisfied with certain things, they easily give out anything, no matter what it is. You know, so you want to just easily understand what he's trying to get to and what he's working on, and bring yours along the way. Because you will suggest, you will advise, you would tell the guy, you know, you want to go to Cairo and we're in Cape, but I'm more interested in going the west side rather than the north side. But in light of what you want to do, I'm with you. And along the way, halfway down the line, you still play your ropes right to see how you can still shift the boat to the west and still get what you want while we're still going to the north. So it's that wisdom that mostly women needs to come in with. And with men, you should always be considerate to the fact that this person is not just an instrument, an object to be used, or this person has dreams and aspirations. How do we connect? How do we bring them together for us? How do we align for us to get to where we want to go to? And normally we do what we call vision boards for couples, MJ, to help them bring those differences together, to say, how do we best work together with with all the differences that we have? How do we deal with them? How do we consider each other? Priorities. What needs to come first now? I've seen cases where people get married and there's not this, and both of them they have different expectations, they have ambitions, they're trying to push them. And couples tend to run the risk of separating their finances. And at the end, everybody's pushing their goal. It's my car, my house, my farm, my this, my that. Because now you people are just tolerating each other. There's no companionship in this thing now. You are very personal business partners who happen to share the same bed. You know, so it's important to strike a balance seriously and honestly. And I tell couples, you lose nothing if you give your best as a husband and love this person. I tell my wife every day that the type of love I'll shower is the type that I know God has given me, and I cannot be stingy with it. No matter where it goes, when I look back, I want to say, Lord, I did all my best to love this woman. I tell her the type of respect I get from you, the submission, just give it. You lose nothing. MJ, I tell you, there's nothing, because people make these things conditional. And this is where the biggest problem comes in. Because with those expectations, now because you are not getting this, you are not receiving this, you tend to withhold certain things, to keep certain things to yourself, to create boundaries, and there isn't much of a nice flow between the both of you. So that's a bit I can say about dealing with expectations, to say, let's be tolerant and let's give each other a chance. Given, I tell you, I'll give an example. I have a wife who's very melancholic and who's a corporate lady. I told her, mine is to help you get to where I know we have discussed and talked about. And every day I wake up to sharpen that and to support her on that. I recall that recently she was telling me, my colleagues were telling me that you have a great husband who's not competing with you in that space, whose understanding of you, and it talks to the aspects of emotional intelligence and knowing your temperaments. I told her, go as further as much as you can. I sit here
Yeah.
to still benefit MJ. I reap after all, I'm the CEO of whatever CEO she's doing, whatever anyway. You understand? I don't need to fight. It's like God giving you a gift and you are the one shining and people are applauding you. They can't see God, but they see you. But God is there smiling. I gave you this. I need not to worry about this. So I'm very content because at the end of the day, it's my name. Well, I feel recently when the president was calling her out her name, I said, it wasn't me who was being called, it was you, but it was my name, the name I gave you. I stood up and applauded, and I laughed and I said, you see, I've achieved already. It doesn't have to be my face. It has to be everything that I do for her that makes her to shine the way she shines. So that's a bit I can say about expectations, MJ.
Yes. I think I like the fact that you said that you have to recognize that it's not all about you.
Oh, yes.
Because I think some of these expectations come from selfishness, that you are
Yeah.
not considering the other person. So I think you captured it well and you ended it well. And we can see that our comments are being flooded with hearts. People are smiling. And we so I think
It confirms I'm not lying.
so yeah. So we have proof that you are not making these things up. So you have a cosign on that. So I think you captured it well, because sometimes I think we take a position of selfishness in marriage, that it's about me, 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 me. And I think I wanted to pick your brain on this one. What is your opinion on what they call it, out of community, or getting married out of community? Is it good for the marriage? Its positives and its negatives and long-term impacts on the marriage, because this is something that we see a lot of, and especially as believers, because well, for me growing up, I knew that the two became one, meaning that yes, we are one. But now we have finances that then come into play, that is the two becoming one. But when it comes to finances, now we are no longer one, we are separate. I want to get your own opinion on that one.
Okay. We should note why. Thank you for the question, MJ. We should note why it came about. This talks to legal parameters. This talks to legal aspects of the marriage. So those who put it together, they were just trying to consider the aspects of those who might say, I want to have my things done this way. Maybe people who are divorcing getting married. It was done to talk to and address material things, legal things, and not necessarily talking to the oneness that these two shall become. And I have nothing against that, as long as there is an understanding. When two parties come together and go out of community, and there's an understanding why we are doing this out of community thing, and it doesn't outweigh the oneness that we are trying to build. Because sometimes, I would say for Christians, we want to shy away from going that route because we know ourselves as people. We, along the way, there is that I aspect, the selfish aspect that comes into play. And the next thing, because we are out of community or property, your debts are your debts. Deal with your people. Your people are disturbing me where I'm sleeping. God, please, can you attend to your people? Can you do this? Your people and stuff, So it somewhat doesn't work well for those who are not mature enough to understand why it was set up and put together. But I personally don't have anything against it. It's just that we, on the Christian side, we promote in community because we are helping and saying for those who are likely to not maybe, be the type who are so aware of the factors that come into play, the support, the companionship, the coherence, the walking together, it works them. It works for them. It helps them. When you are in community, you are in a way likely to be forced to support and to, play alongside with your partner and support them and carry them through with you. So I think for me, Hella MJ, it's just that I want people to have an understanding so that when you go out of community, it doesn't kill the oneness, the jointness. It doesn't kill the aspect of talking to each other and saying, this is what I'm going through. Can you help me? You know, can you assist me? Can you come in? Can you step in? But Hella, I would say this, that ideally what works, what helps people to work together is when they are in community, because you then understand your battles are my battles, your problems are my problems. Let's work together. There's no way I miss you in the process. There's no way I found you wanting and lacking, but marriage is an institution. There's a lot that comes into play. So once you are not in community, when your business is going down, it's especially for the fact that you have registered it, it's in your names, and I'm not in. You go to court alone, you deal with the issues alone. Da, 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 da. So yeah, let's get an understanding so that it becomes easy to navigate on this aspect. So like I said, it was mainly for the legal aspect. It was mainly for the material issues and stuff. So people should strike an understanding and know what it means and work around it easily without stepping on each other's toes.
Yes, thank you for that. Because I think we live in a time and in a period where it's always like we always hear one side of the story, which is in order to secure yourself and to protect yourself, marry out of community so that you have secured yourself, you are safe from anything that can happen. We get it. In terms of the legal and the material aspect, it's good. But yes, we have now made this decision. But does this decision that we have made in order to protect ourselves financially, does it impact on the marriage itself? And I like how you have covered it, that then now it means now your issues are your issues for you to deal with. If you are having any financial issues, your business is going down, I might withhold any help that I could be able to assist, because we are financially we are separate entities. Mike.
Yeah, I heard of often at times I hear of cases where couples choose out of community or property because their respective families have some businesses, they have land, and it's a very complicated ownership and asset model thing going on. So they choose to keep it separate so that, like, in case of dissolving and deaths, that things don't, and then when there are marital problems, that it doesn't create more issues and more problems. So I've heard it explained that if you do find yourself in that circumstance, then sure, you can choose to be out of communal property in respect of what's happening in the background in the families. But when I got married just last year, we weren't too sure whether we would choose to be in or out. But once they gave us the sheet to analyze and we started reading the pros and cons, we said, it's obvious. In community or property, obvious. And then we're Christians, so we saw it even as a tool to even strengthen our bond.
Yeah, Mike. I mean,
Yes.
you're right, because tell me what, what's the point if you can't give it your best and your all? What's the point? I mean, what's the point of getting into it and you have a shoulder to look back at? You want to check your back. You want to, I tell people, This is life. We came in it with nothing, we'll leave with nothing. Amassing and accumulating whatever we can. Even that wealth you are trying to protect, it might end up in the hands of people you never thought. It has happened over the years and times. It may end up in the hands of people you never thought that it could end into. So you want to live your life to the fullest by just, opening up to your partner and saying to them, this is what I have, this is what we are going to do, this is how we are best going to fare. That's why we spoke about emotional intelligence and temperaments, because you need to play the right role of choosing right, so that tomorrow you don't sleep with one eye open. You don't have to have yourself checking your back every now and then. So people jump into these things when they have not done the due diligence of this aspect that we started talking about, So look, play your role, play your part, because I tell people marriage is full-time work. Too much. If you have never ever gotten married, you have never started understanding what work is, because this thing, it will make you, it will break you. So you need to inform yourself at the word go, so that it's easier for you to now fare from here going forward. Remember, two heads are better. When you are coming to these things, just remember and trust God for his backing all the way. Because if two come together, surely he's there to get you back. I'm a living testament, so I don't know. I can't speak much on the other side, but yeah, this side, I'll tell you, it works when you all give it your best. Yeah.
Yes, Coach, we have a question for you here.
Okay.
Somebody has been wowed by the wisdom that you have, and I'm sure this is somebody that Mike knows. Coach, did you have this wealth of information when choosing your partner to settle down with, or did you learn along the way? Because this was something that you said, that you just mentioned actually, that just the importance of picking your partner, that if you pick well, if you have prayed to God well, then some things you are not going to sleep with one eye open or need legal assistance to protect you in case these things go south. But if you have prepared well, if you have prayed about it, if you have gone through premarital counseling, if you have made sure that you have signed up to coaches lessons, I've prepared for this marriage, then by all means go all in. So Coach, did you have all this wealth of information when you were picking your partner, or this is information that you have picked up along the way? I know now, is it 9 years or close to 9 years?
It's close to 9 years now.
Wow.
Yes.
In marriage, yeah, in marriage.
Yes.
But we dated 4 years, yeah.
Okay, so 13 years.
13 years, yeah, 13 years.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. To tell you, MJ, I don't know if it was divine, because one thing that I used to do I've always valued investing in myself, because I grew up as somebody who came from the back, labeled average at most. So I knew I had to play catch up all the time. And for that, it drew me closer to just making sure anything I get into, I need a little bit of awareness. I might not get it well or right, but at least let me know. But for me, really, the biggest asset for me was the trust in God. I tell my wife, I wouldn't have done it if it weren't God. And I depended heavily. There was a time before we got married, and after proposing, I said, Lord, I think you know what you're doing. I don't know. But so lead the way and take over. And that's the day I knew he will take over. I told her, I think God loves you more than I love you. I know that. So it's my connection to him that will help me to love you and get you to where he needs you to be. Because that's my view. She's going somewhere. Every human being is called for something. And as a partner, you have the sole responsibility of helping that person to get to where they are called to and to get to. Don't be an impediment. So this was my prayer to say, let me not be a stumbling block. Let me not be a roadblock for her. So the knowledge came with time. And luckily for me, I did a bit of psychology here and there. So this also added weight in my journey when I was still studying and before I became what I am today. So it was when I stumbled in this information that with time it helped me sharpen, it helped me become better and stuff. And I'll tell you, MJ, she asked to give an example that I even invested myself into reading. I'm the type who can proudly say sex before marriage was never a thing for me. So it went to those things that I needed to know. What is this thing? Am I really sure I want to? So because I was very inquisitive, what's the right word? I was anxious. I had to read. I had to go there, find stuff, and say, "What am I going to do? What goes into this thing? Where do I touch? Where do I press?" So I think that wanting to know part played a key role, because then I'll stumble in certain information that will add weight into what I'm sharing today and what I'm saying to people. So I guess for me, I always preferred and said, I don't want to get into anything that I don't understand. So a little bit of information gives me the confidence. So yes, some information I got earlier, but some it became better and better along the process after marriage.
And I think what I will say about just the two of you guys, it's really iron sharpening iron.
Thank you.
I think for me, that's what I've always gotten from you guys, and just the fact that you push your wife, that you are not intimidated at all in the levels that your wife climbs, that you are just like, you know what, I'm going to push you. I think it's just that level of confidence in your marriage and in your wife. Because for some, I would like to assume that they are scared that if my wife now starts climbing the ladder, this woman now is going to start looking for other people now elsewhere now. But I just adore that level of trust that you guys have in your marriage. And it's a beautiful thing that we have had an opportunity to witness for the past 9 years. So, yes. Mike, your closing.
I don't personally know Coach. This is my first time meeting him, but
Yes.
there's something about the way you're communicating, and I know MJ, and therefore a friend of MJ is a friend of mine, and I see the how transparent you are and how willing and how vulnerable you are, and so I get a sense that, of course, not all marriages are perfect, not every situation is perfect, but that you wake up every day and you endeavor to do your part, to play your role, and as the man of the house, you play your part. And I just want to encourage more people to witness what you are doing, what MJ is doing, what we are all trying to do as Christian men leading our families, that it can be done. And we can do it honorably, we can do it respectfully, and we can also show others how to do it respectfully as well.
No, definitely.
Coach, we really appreciate you, and as Mike has already said, just your level of vulnerability always, because there are lessons in that, and sometimes we don't share our testimonies because we are scared of what people will or how people will now start to perceive us, or that we are always trying to push a narrative that we are, as Christians, that we are perfect people, that no, I went into this marriage thing, I knew everything, but for you, you were humble enough to say, hey, I don't even know where to press, so I need to learn where to press and how to do it. So it takes it takes humility that I am lacking
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
appreciate that spirit that you always carry of encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
That always be teachable, always
Mm-hmm.
be vulnerable, because I think the greatest testimonies come from just us being vulnerable, and
Mm-hmm.
others can learn from that instead of
Yeah.
putting on a face of perfection and that we have it all together. So we really appreciate you making time, and I'm sure there will be part two. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's not in
Definitely.
2026.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah,
Thank you so
I
much.
think you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Any last words, Coach?
Yeah, last words, MJ, I think taking from the last point, where we were just saying that, give it all your best. You have nothing to lose in this journey, but more to gain, to say the least. You have nothing to lose. And there are many narratives and there are many suggestions, there are many backgrounds and cultural aspects that play a role to who we are, because we're talking about behavior. Some of them, if they don't work, just throw them away. I mean, I'm
Mm.
Kalanga and I come from a tribe where, men are the providers, men are everything, men are this, men are that, and you have to be seen in this. Some of these things I needed to work on and balance and see whether they work. And that's one thing about being a Christian. You need to let go of certain things for God to function better on you. And everything that may play as a limiting factor in your relationship, throw it away. Let God lead
So,
all the way. And this is to men, to say, you are ordained and graced with leadership. Just step into it. Reach out and say, Lord, here's the family. How best can I lead them as you would need me to? Those children, one day you will not be around to see them fare in life, but you want to do all that you can. Let God use you as an instrument. I tell my family, I'm just an instrument to aid all of you to get somewhere. You are also instruments to help me get somewhere. It's divine that we are here together. So let's give it all our best. And that's what it takes. Give it all your best and let God do the rest. And I'm telling you, life will be the best for us. So thank you
Any
so much. Thank
events?
you. Mhm.
Do you have any events coming up, and how do people get a contact with you? Those who need, I assume you provide
Mhm.
coaching services as well. So how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah.
And are there any upcoming events that people can start
Yeah.
looking out for?
Okay. We do coaching and counseling, MJ. These are the things that we managed to get trained on and certified on, and it's a blessing to have such. And then also we do events in line to support. And some of our events, and if not all, are more influenced and motivated by what we have dealt with and what we have gone through, and trying to provide solutions. So we have what we call couples team up. It's an event on its own that runs with helping couples to become stronger and become the best version of themselves. Issues we talk to issues of personal development, sharpening each other, and all that. So we are bringing that awareness into marriage. The key element and aspect of communication in marriage, this one is too underrated. People take it for granted. And if you look back, our fights and our battles in marriages and relationships are as a result of poor communication lines and failure to understand how to best communicate. So we overemphasize those in our sessions. So this year we have decided to go couple to the team up session. It's going to be a week of an extravaganza where we are just couples will be coming in to say, I'm giving up I've allocated time for this, me and my wife, to facilitate it, and couples are coming in for their sessions, at group and individual levels, because we've realized some were complaining the date we have set is not working for them. So we are available, and from the week of the 18th to the last day of November. And this is where the lessons will be rolling out for teaming up sessions. So we have a place where we are doing the sessions. When you sign up, we will just get you to the place, and then we do the sessions for you guys. It's maximum 3 hours of a session where we do team building activities. Some are already in groups. We are rolling out already. Some are coming on different dates. So it's just a great experience. And I want to say, sometimes it's important to unplug, give your partner that time. For me, 9 years in marriage, you can imagine how many things are. The responsibilities have piled. We have kids who are tearing us apart, who are demanding and over demanding. We have corporate, we have business ambitions, and all this are competing priorities for our time. So we use this session to strengthen the bonds, to not forget what brought us together, and keep up with this marriage and keep up with this life that we have brought upon ourselves. So it's a challenge to couples to say there are a lot of competing priorities, but you want to make time. It can be 2 hours of your time. Give it up. The minimum we can give you 2 hours or 3 hours maximum. So please, let's give up time for this. Come for the session, do the activities. You can bring your friend, bring your couple friends. It's even nicer to do that. So I'm saying from the 18th to the last month of this the last day of this month we're available, preferably Saturdays, of course. Please do that. I think it's 2 Saturdays before the end of the month, so feel free to do that. But if you are a couple, because you maybe Saturdays may not work for you during the course of the week, we are still available to take you for the session. If you provide the time, we are here to do that for you. So thank you so much, MJ, for this session, and thank you, Mike, also for connecting with us. We look forward to more. Please make sure you call again soon. We'll be counting on you, and I'm putting it on you. The listeners, they should know that if I'm not back here anytime soon, it's your doing, both of you.
You mentioned signing up, but you didn't mention where to sign up.
Sorry. Our website is www.introvision.co.bw. There's a contact us part there where you can just register your details and say couples team up, registering. You put your details, it will automatically send a notification to us. You can also reach us on app if you don't want to go that route. 73164719 73164719. You can get in touch with us on app and then indicate and register. And by the way, MJ, the fee, because there's always a fee to say thank you for your time and say thank you for your effort and for these tools that you are giving us. The fee is none other than 850 for a couple. So both of you can. I see MJ just fidget a bit. I think he thinks the price is too low. But yeah, we are accommodative to that extent, so it's 850. You can easily subscribe and say, yeah, we are here, we are ready to go.
The price is too low. Because I was paying 800 for an hour a therapy session.
So, I know.
so the price is very low. So 3 hours for 800 pula. Yes. I think as we started this.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I think when we started, we spoke about the need and the importance of investing into your marriage.
Yeah.
That don't view this 800 pula as it's an 800 pula invested into your marriage.
Yeah.
That this could be the make or break in your marriage.
True.
So see this as an investment. So it's not that we spent 800 pula on fast food, but it's 800 pula that we have fully invested into our marriage. So look at it like that. So yeah, I think we have gone above and beyond. We have almost double our normal time, but yeah, what can you do? So I think thank you to all those who joined us, the commenters, those who viewed. So we really appreciate you for joining us on this journey, and appreciate you for making this the village and the community that it is. And also just one more thing to highlight is that on the 29th will be our last live stream for the season. So that will be a big one. So get ready for that. So it's on the 29th. So mark your calendars. I thought Mike just disappeared on us. Anyway, Mike is back. So okay, guys. Thank you, gentlemen, for the wonderful fellowship we've just had together. Truly a blessing. Thank you.